Sand by Butler. It's been 3 weeks since the nightmare started, and every night it gets worse. I'm suspended over a dark, empty void, forced to stare down into oblivion as I contemplate an inevitable, endless drop into the unknown. I'm back at that lonely beach on the coast, 12 years old, a decade earlier, and Billy Draper and those other boys dragged me into the surging tide, forcing me under the waves again and again. I taste salt. I choke on liquid. My airwaves are bloated and stifled with the sea. Each night I live or relive a dozen terrifying fears, and each day the dreams get more and more vivid and real. I've tried taking pills. I've tried changing my diet. I've been to the doctor to seek help. But this isn't physical. It isn't even psychological. This is something else. My college classes are suffering because of it. I can't concentrate on lectures. I can't work on an essay or paper for more than a minute before visions of my night terrors flit before my eyes. They've started creeping into the daytime now, coming to me when I'm awake, as well as when I'm tossing and turning in bed. The fact that I've actually tried staying awake of late and not sleeping at all lends this latest development a cruel, sadistic twist. It's almost as if something's toying with me. And I now realize that may be the case. The realization dawned on me slowly. In recent days, when sleep has eventually caught up with me, or those daytime visions have struck, I've become gradually aware of a presence looking on and taking a kind of sadistic pleasure in my plight. There can be no doubt something is visiting this plague upon me, and it's loving every second. When the nightmares come, even in my fear, I now sense a blur, a vague outline of something monstrous lurking in my peripheral vision. It's not defined in a physical sense. It's more an emotion, a feeling, but I can feel its intentions, and they are ripe with malice. Somehow, I know that it's doing this to me, confronting me with everything I fear the most, pushing and probing, continually pulling strings on the back of my mind in a bid to make me snap. There's mischief there, if mischief is not too light a word for such cruel endeavor. It's all a game to this thing. It wants to see how quickly it can break me. It's toying with me, making me dance to its tune like some sort of child's marionette. I know I need help. I wish there was someone I could turn to, someone who could make it stop, but none of my friends would understand if I told them. I know what the doctor would think. The way madness lies in diagnosis, at least, and a one-way ticket to the psych ward, and endless, disabling medication. No. Somehow I understand I must confront this thing alone. A battle of wills is afoot. If I'm a good sport, if I put up a fight, then maybe, just maybe, it'll leave me alone. I awake from my nightmare. This one was the worst yet. Sweat soaks the sheets around me and my body shudders with adrenaline and the awful dawning pain of cramp. I struggle awkwardly out of bed and hop around to shake off the muscle spasms, wincing and cursing as I do so. To an onlooker, it would look comical, but the physical discomfort is nothing compared to the torment I feel. Tonight's dreams were so vivid, so utterly real, that the panic was completely overwhelming. I stop and catch my breath. The ache in my leg has begun to subside. Then I sense something stirring in the shadows ahead. A shudder ripples through me, and I find myself locked in place. It's a bizarre sensation. My limbs feel too heavy to move. My head goes groggy and faint. Somehow I realize I'm no longer in full control of my senses, or even my own body. My jaw stirs even as I fight to keep it from shifting. My mouth and tongue, dry with fear, form shapes against my will. Words that I do not understand spew from my lips as I feel my own feet, propelled by another's will, begin to shuffle me towards the bedroom door. My hand, now like an alien object, reaches out to grasp the handle. It twists, opening with an awkward swipe, and I propelled through into the light outside, but rather than the reassuring texture of soft carpet, I feel the grainy uncertainty of cold, shifting sand beneath my feet. I look around me, confused and afraid. My bedroom and the hallway beyond are gone, replaced instead with the faint glow of twilight and the peaceful lull of incoming waves. With dawning terror, I now realize where I am. I'm back at that lonely beach on the nighttime coast. The time I've relived over and over again in recent days, yet this feels different and more alarming than ever. This is truly real. My body has not regressed. I am not 12 years old again as in the nightmares. The salt in my mouth, the gushing wind in my hair, they are genuine as the sand beneath my feet. Groggy but once again in control of myself, I move to pinch the skin on the back of my left hand. Pain sears through me. I pinch harder, and the pain throbs greater still. Off to the left, atop the cliffs, the old lighthouse sends beams of shocking white shooting over the sea, and in the flashes of strobe light that come and go in regular, startling heartbeats, I see movement ahead. The group approaches. Their forms are unmistakable. 5 of them, small yet determined, coming closer with each bright flare. 20 yards away. 10. By the time I make out Billy Draper's cruel, sadistic grin at the fore, an expression I have not and could never forget, I turn screaming to run. I don't make it more than a few tortured, ankle-jarring paces before they're upon me. Their adolescent hands clawing at my torso as they grab onto whatever scraps of skin and fabric they can contain. I am a fit and healthy 22-year-old guy. I should be able to shrug these kids off with ease, but as I strike out with my fists, flail my legs to kick, and attempt to throw the nearest to the ground with a buck of my torso, the awful truth begins to seep in. These boys are strong. So unnaturally strong. They clamp onto me with arms like iron as I yell and curse and spit. Billy Draper leans in close and whispers in my ear, "You're gonna pay for what you did." They march me towards the water. I scream louder as they push and pull my straining upright form closer and closer to the incoming tide. The harder I resist, the tighter they grip. I feel my skin tear and break as nails dig in like anchors. Blood trickles down my sides as they start to laugh and jeer just as they did all that time ago. I feel the cold shock of water as it rushes to envelop my toes. Then a firmer impact as a wall of foam crashes into my ankle, into my shin. By the time I'm up to my knees, those bright flashes in the dark, sending me delirious and disoriented, I can only plead and beg and sob. Somewhere nearby I sense that blur, that vague outline, looking on gleefully and satisfied. I feel a final jolt of despair as I realize that this is to be the last game played with me. I've lost. I'm finally broken, and since my fear can be pushed no further, it's time to draw the fun to a close. Up to my waist now, I cry out as a small, insistent hand grabs the back of my hair and pushes me down, down and forwards, face first into the freezing black void of icy water. I'm silenced by the deluge. Just as the submersion makes the world a silent mystery to me, my ears clog and rumble, my nose and mouth fill to the brim as panic overwhelms my shattered mind. I taste salt. I choke on liquid. My lungs are bloated and stifled with the sea. I wake to find my head on my pillow. In my small, wood-paneled room. A dream. Just a dream. It had to be. I reach up to rub my face awake and brush the sand out of my eyes. Only then do I feel the sand in my hair.